Have you ever seen your mom or dad, or maybe your grandma, just slightly lose their footing while stepping off a curb or reaching up for something on a shelf, and they laugh it off, say something like, "Oh, I'm just clumsy today," but something in your gut twists a little, because deep down, you wonder if it's really just clumsiness. Let me ask you, what if that little misstep wasn't a fluke? What if it was a red flag, a quiet warning that something in their body, their balance, their strength, their routine is beginning to shift? And what if almost everyone around them misses it? See, I'm not talking about dramatic falls here, not broken hips, emergency rooms, or rehab centers, though those stories happen all too often. I'm talking about the subtle stuff, the everyday slips that seem like nothing until they aren't. Because losing balance, especially for older adults, doesn't happen all at once. It sneaks up, and by the time you really notice it, sometimes it's already too late. And here's the part that gets me every time. Most of it could have been prevented. Losing balance isn't just about falling. It's about losing freedom, losing confidence. It's about no longer feeling safe in your own home, no longer trusting your own body. And for families, that one unexpected fall, it could turn your whole world upside down. But I want you to hear this. It doesn't have to be that way. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 4 biggest mistakes almost everyone makes when it comes to balance in older adults. They're common, they're subtle, and they're costing people their health, their comfort, and sometimes even their independence. But the good news? Every one of these mistakes can be avoided, and the steps you need to take aren't complicated. If you care about keeping your loved ones safe, if you're serious about preventing that one fall that changes everything, then this video is for you. And hey, before we go on, just do this real quick. Comment, "I'm here," if you're ready to protect someone you love from unnecessary risk. And don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Care, because you don't have to walk this road alone. We're in this together. Now let's get into it. Let's start with the first mistake. And honestly, it's one of the most common. One that slips past families every single day until something goes wrong. Mistake number 1, ignoring muscle weakness. I want you to picture Frank. He's 74, retired, spends most mornings out in his garden, hands deep in the soil, trimming back roses and chatting with neighbors over the fence. It's his peace, his rhythm. But lately, he doesn't kneel anymore. He says his knees hurt or his back's stiff, and you don't think much of it. Of course, he's slowing down, you tell yourself. That's just what happens. Then one day, Frank tries to reach up into a kitchen cabinet. Nothing heavy, just a box of tea. His foot wobbles. He stumbles backward, and before anyone can catch him, he's on the floor. No warning, no time to react. Just a fall, and everything changes. Here's the thing, Frank's story? It isn't rare. In fact, it's nearly every older adult at some point, because as we age, we naturally lose muscle mass. It's called sarcopenia, and it happens to everyone. The muscles that keep you stable, your thighs, your calves, your core, get weaker. Slowly, quietly, and that balance you never had to think about before, it starts to fade. But we brush it off. We say they're just tired or they're not as strong as they used to be, like it's just part of getting older. But here's the truth. This weakness is gradual, yes, but it's also preventable. The problem is when older adults start feeling less stable, the instinct is to move less, to sit more, to stay in the chair instead of getting up and walking around. It feels safer, but it's actually the opposite. Less movement means more muscle loss, and more muscle loss means even higher risk of falling. But this spiral, you can stop it. Sometimes, all it takes is a simple routine. Leg lifts while sitting in a chair, using resistance bands, those stretchy ones you can get at any pharmacy, encouraging light walks around the house or up and down the hallway, even just standing on one foot for a few seconds safely near a counter. It's not about turning your loved one into a gym rat. It's about reactivating those stabilizing muscles before they're lost completely. Muscle strength is balance, and balance is safety. So next time you see your parent or grandparent avoiding a movement they used to do easily, don't ignore it. That change, it's not just aging, it's a signal. And strength is something we can build back. But it's not just about strength, because balance doesn't live in the legs alone. Another sneaky cause of imbalance is something most people think has nothing to do with falling at all. It's your eyes. And it's the second mistake we need to talk about because it's hiding in plain sight. Mistake number 2, overlooking vision changes. Let me tell you about Evelyn. She's always been graceful, poised, the kind of woman who used to glide through her kitchen like she was dancing, setting the table without ever missing a step. But recently, something's changed. Her daughter noticed it first. Evelyn started hesitating at the stairs, misjudging the last step. She bumped her shoulder against the hallway corner, twice in the same week. And when her daughter gently asked, "Mom, are you feeling okay?" Evelyn smiled, a little embarrassed. "Oh, just getting forgetful," she said. They both assumed it might be early memory loss, but it wasn't. The real issue? Evelyn's depth perception was off. She had cataracts, slowly clouding her vision, dulling her contrast, blurring the edges of her world. And nobody had noticed. See, here's something most people don't realize. Your eyes are critical for balance. They help your brain understand where your body is in space, how close you are to the floor, how far the next step is, whether that surface is flat or uneven. When vision fades, even just a little, your brain gets less information. And when the brain can't see clearly, it guesses. And sometimes it guesses wrong. That's when the stumbles happen. Not because of weakness or confusion, but because the visual map is broken. Now here's the misconception that trips people up. We think if an older adult has glasses, their vision's fine. But glasses don't fix everything. They don't restore peripheral vision. They don't improve contrast sensitivity, that ability to tell the edge of a rug from the floor. And they certainly don't catch things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, or cataracts early. These changes can be subtle. They creep in so slowly. People adjust without realizing how much they've lost. Until suddenly, the hallway looks narrower, the steps look steeper, and the shadows become hazards. But here's the hopeful part. This mistake? It's easy to correct. Start with annual eye exams. Not just to update a prescription, but to truly check the health of the eyes. Catch problems before they turn into risks. And around the home, make sure walkways are clear and uncluttered. Use high-contrast colors, like adding dark tape to the edge of light-colored stairs or bright mats at thresholds. Keep lighting warm and bright, especially near entryways and bathrooms. Small changes, huge difference. Because when vision slips, the whole world becomes harder to navigate. But with the right attention, we can bring things back into focus. Now, speaking of things that are hard to see until they become dangerous, that brings us to mistake number 3. And it might be the most silent trap of all, because it's right there in plain sight in every home. Mistake number 3, a poor home environment. Now James was proud of his home. He and his wife lived there for over 40 years. Everything in its place, every drawer familiar, every creak in the floorboards known by heart. But when his daughter came over one weekend to help reorganize, she started to notice things. A scatter rug in the hallway, just slightly curled at the edges. A dim bulb in the bathroom that hadn't been replaced. A few loose wires running near the armchair, half tucked under the rug. To James, it all seemed harmless. Just the usual stuff, the same way it's always been. But to his daughter, it looked like a fall waiting to happen. And she was right. Because here's something many people overlook. When mobility starts to decline, the same home you've known for decades becomes a different place. Corners feel sharper. Surfaces get slipperier. That rug you used to step over without thinking, now it grabs at your toes. Even small changes in strength or vision or reflexes turn minor obstacles into serious hazards. But the catch is, because it's familiar, it doesn't feel dangerous. People say, "We've lived here for years, it's fine." But that comfort, that familiarity, it creates false confidence. The body that once moved with ease now needs help. And the home? It needs to evolve too. So what does that look like? Sometimes, it's as simple as better lighting. Replace old, dim bulbs with brighter ones, especially in hallways, stairwells, and bathrooms. Look at rugs. Are they secure? Do they lie completely flat? Better yet, remove the ones that serve no purpose but decoration. Safety first, always. Loose cords? Tape them down or reroute them altogether. Avoid clutter near walkways. Think about where someone would reach if they started to fall. and make sure there's something sturdy nearby. Install grab bars, not just in the shower, but by the toilet or near beds if needed. Think of them not as signs of frailty, but tools of independence. They give your loved ones something to lean on, not just physically, but emotionally. And most importantly, walk through the home from their perspective, not how you move through it, but how they do, with their slower pace, their careful steps. Because the safest homes aren't the ones that look perfect. They're the ones that protect the people who live in them. You're not changing their space. You're adapting it to fit their life as it is now, not as it once was. And that simple shift, it can mean the difference between a peaceful evening and a call to the hospital. Now, so far we've talked about strength, vision, and the physical space around us. But the final mistake? It's the most invisible, the most common, and the most ignored, because it's not found in the body or the home. It's found in the medicine cabinet. Mistake number 4, not addressing medication side effects. Let me tell you about Clara. She was 81, still sharp, still independent, still cooking her own meals every day. But lately, she'd been feeling off. A little dizzy when she stood up too fast. A little slower to react when she bent down to pick something up. One afternoon, she was in the kitchen, just getting a glass of water, and the room tilted. She tried to grab the counter, but her hand missed it by inches. She fell hard. No one was there to catch her. At first, the family thought it was just age catching up. But when they started going through her day, something clicked. She'd started a new blood pressure medication 2 weeks before. No one had warned her about the dizziness. No one had asked if it might affect her balance. And now, the damage was done. You see, Clara's story isn't rare. It's frighteningly common, because so many medications that are prescribed, often with the best intentions, carry hidden side effects. Dizziness, lightheadedness, lowered blood pressure, slower reaction times. These things may not seem serious at first glance, but in the body of an older adult, they can be the tipping point. Think about it. Blood pressure medications, sleep aids, anti-anxiety drugs, even some pain medications, can all interfere with balance, even perfectly dosed, even when taken exactly as directed. And yet, we rarely connect the dots. Why? Because we trust prescriptions. We assume that if a doctor prescribed it, it must be safe. And most of the time, it is. But safe doesn't mean risk-free. It's not that the medication is wrong. It's that no one's talking about how it affects balance. No one's asking the follow-up questions. No one's double-checking for interactions when the list of prescriptions starts to grow. And sometimes families just don't know they can ask. But here's the good news. You can, and you should, review every medication with a doctor or a pharmacist. Bring the full list, yes, even the supplements, even the over-the-counter ones, and ask one simple question. Could any of these affect balance? It's not about questioning the prescription. It's about understanding the side effects. Because once you know the risks, you can make safer choices. You can adjust the dosage. You can change the time of day it's taken. You can create a plan that keeps your loved ones steady, on their feet, and in control. Don't wait for a fall to ask the questions, because by then, you're not just reacting to dizziness. You're dealing with broken bones, hospital stays, maybe even long-term loss of mobility. These 4 mistakes we've talked about, muscle weakness, vision changes, poor home setup, and medication side effects, they're so common that nearly every older adult will experience at least one of them. But the difference between tragedy and safety is awareness. Because now you know, and knowing, that's where protection begins. I know this isn't easy to hear. It's painful to watch someone you love, someone who once moved through life with ease, start to struggle. To see the hesitation in their steps, the quiet fear in their eyes when they get up too fast. To wonder, every time the phone rings, is this the call? You want to help, but where do you even start? There's no manual for this. No perfect checklist that makes you feel like you're doing enough. And in the busyness of life, in the overwhelm of caregiving, it's easy to miss the little things, to second-guess yourself, to feel helpless. But here's something I want you to hold on to. Noticing these mistakes? It isn't a sign of fear. It's a sign of love. It means you care enough to look closer, to pay attention to the details, to protect the person who once protected you. And those little changes you make, they matter. Every grab bar installed, every rug removed, every eye exam scheduled, Every moment you take to ask, could this medication be affecting you? It all adds up. It adds up to safety, to dignity, to independence, to one less fall, one more season spent in peace. You don't have to do everything today, but you can do something. Take 5 minutes. Look at the path from their bed to the bathroom. Check if that hallway is well lit. Call the pharmacy. Have a conversation with their doctor. Even to sit beside them and ask how their body feels lately really feels. That one action might seem small now, but could mean months or years of safer living, of more meals shared at the table, more holidays celebrated at home, more time lived well. And let me remind you, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know all the answers. You just have to be present, aware, patient, willing to act when something feels off. That kind of love, that's what makes the difference. In a world that moves so fast, taking the time to slow down and really see what your loved one needs, that's powerful. That's enough. And it's more than most ever do. So let's take a breath together and let's quickly go over what we've talked about today. The 4 major causes of balance loss in older adults, the ones that slip under the radar far too often, are untreated muscle weakness, vision decline, unsafe home environments, and unnoticed medication side effects. They sound simple, don't they? But behind every one of them is a story waiting to happen. And for too many families, that story ends with a fall, a fracture, or a permanent loss of confidence. But now you see them, and that means you have a chance to change the story. Have you seen any of these signs in someone you love? A parent? A spouse? Maybe even in yourself? Drop a comment and let me know. Tell me what you've noticed. Tell me what surprised you, or even what you're afraid to say out loud. Because this isn't just a video, it's a conversation, and your voice, it matters. Here at Elderly Care, we're building a space where no one has to walk this path alone, where information is shared with heart, where we learn not just what to do, but how to do it with love and dignity. So if this helped you, if even one thing we talked about made you stop and think, go ahead and hit subscribe, because we're going to keep having these conversations. We're going to keep learning together. And one more thing, thank you. Thank you for showing up, for taking the time to listen, for doing the quiet, powerful work of educating yourself. Not for applause, but for someone you love. That matters more than you know. Stay safe, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.